background before I actually got a real job. Stage manager. Is anybody a stage manager? Theater? You know what a stage manager is?
Yes.
You know what a stage manager is? So if you're doing a play, then all of the actors think that the show is about them, right?
It is.
So all the actors, they put on their makeup. The show could not happen without the actors, right? So I want to give you 3 words. Look at this, yay! Props, right? Spelling, because that's my worst. Any organization only provides 3 things, nothing else. There are only 3 things we provide to our members. Number 1, access. We provide access to international markets. We provide access. That is the first thing. If you do nothing else, you at least have access to international markets. Number 2, opportunity. Not only do you have access to international markets, you have the opportunity to actually participate. So once you have the access, I will tell you 85% of the members in the United States never actually take the opportunity. But they join because there is access. They do have the access. They can tell their clients, I have access to opportunities in 65 different countries. The reality is many times they don't actually take the opportunity, but they market themselves because they have that access. Access, opportunity. So if you have the access and you take the opportunity, you get the benefit. You provide the benefit. And what do I mean by benefit? Oh, I guess I should put the euro. Money. If we follow the formula, at the end of the formula, people make money. Now, what we've been talking about over the last several years is we haven't actually had a formula. Well, the reality of the situation is it's the same formula. So if you use the formula, so this is a perfect opportunity for all of us, and as Bio was saying, we need to provide that to everybody who comes to the booth, whether they're a member or not. How do we teach them to use the vehicle which we have provided? Okay? Relationships. How many of you do business with people you don't know? Right? So how do we, when somebody comes to the booth and says, why should I join FIABCI? What is our line? What do we say? One sentence.
International relationships.
Start again.
International relationships.
You said it's.
International relationships.
What is?
More.
International business is based on relationships. International business is based on relationships. FIABCI can provide you with the access and the opportunity to build relationships which will grow your business. So that the reason we give you the 3 words is so that you have what you need to be able to do is to work those 3 words into every single answer. I can give you access to the Austrian real estate market if you would like the opportunity to invest, because we have professionals in that market who I know and I can connect you with. What's the other benefit? You don't get any more. Next, who else? Who?
You have to explain to people who really want to grow their business that they have to have patience. This is not a transaction business, it's a relationship business. Young people today expect to have compensation immediately, transact and go to the next deal. It doesn't happen. I can sit here and tell you, it doesn't happen that way if you want to build a foundation for solid business. So you have to convey that. International business takes time and patience and relationships. It's not a transaction business. No question about that.
What else? As I said, it begins with a K. Knowledge. How does the market in Taiwan work? How does the market in Taiwan work?
Lily.
We'll ask Lily. Exactly. Exactly. I have access to the knowledge of how the market in over 65 countries work. Because if my client wants to invest in Slovenia, boom, I know someone to call. And I can provide, it's not my knowledge. That's the whole point of the network. I don't have that knowledge, but I know someone who does. And I can provide that to my client. Because the connection between these two, because here's what's going to happen. Let's go back to our millennials. Let's go back to our 25-year-old. And what's our 25-year-old going to say?
I know it all.
Oh, if I want to find out how the markets work, I'll go on the internet. I'll just look it up on my phone. Are they going to get any business that way? No. Because the way markets actually work and what it says on the internet, very, very different things. Very, very different things. The U.S. people are so talking.
Bill strikes terror in my heart the way my geometry teacher in high school did every time he opens his mouth. However, there is one way to reach somebody, a stranger across the table that you're trying to impress, and you've given them all of the reasons, but the one that you have to say is a personal situation. FIABCI allows you to meet the leadership of large corporations, countries, which other organizations do not. Both Susan and I are very active members of the National Association of Realtors. The leadership of the National Association of Realtors is up here. The average broker agent never sees them, doesn't know them, but here, I know Walid, I know Kirkor, I know Farouk, and I've worked with him. I'm on kissing relationships with his son. This is a barrier that too few people understand that they can cross because they're talking face to face with the president of the Tunisian Association or the Austrian Association or any other association that is a member. Give a personal story and you've got the signature on the paper.
Any other? There's one more thing, and those of you who are new, there's one more thing in the way the world works. It's going to be spelling my spelling joke. Persistence. You have to over and over and over again push the deal, push the. When I first started at the Appraisal Institute, I've been with FIABCI since 2001. 2001, I was working for the Appraisal Institute, which is a principal member in the United States. I was the staff person of a principal member before 2000, well, long history. We'll tell you that over the bar. But the point is, our first overseas client was from Korea. And the Koreans came to the office and they said, we want you to come to Korea. And we had a lovely dinner and we shook hands. We said, okay. We didn't. And they came back 6 months later and they said, we want you to come to Korea. And we're like, wow, these guys came back twice. And then the third time, they came back and they said, we want you to come to Korea. And we said, when do we go? Let's set it up now. So that idea of what we're talking about is access. It's the same thing we have in the U.S. It's a U.S. thing. Rinse, lather, repeat, right? You just repeat it over and over and over again. Over and over again. Access, opportunity, benefit. And then the next level, clarifying those benefits, is the relationships that I have as a FIABCI member give me the knowledge to persistently engage so that we get the deal. Because the deal requires that persistence. And so that's a kind of thing. And Barbara was talking about, and I urge all of you, the most effective thing is a story. I know a FIABCI member who met someone at the World Congress in Panama, and they met each other, and from that relationship, they did a $2 million deal on an industrial warehouse next to the new Panama Canal. I just made that up. I don't know. But the point is, the thing that really convinces people is an actual story. Stories allow people to grasp things. They get it when you tell a specific story. And each of you, I think, already has a specific story about how things work. But because I think Fonz is also talking about, a lot of times we're kind of fuzzy. Yeah, it's worldwide and peace and love, and we have really good parties. People go, okay, yeah, and that gets me money how? But we have to use that opportunity. And this is a good opportunity for all of us, and I think Anna is talking about how we record our relation. When we're in the booth and people come up, let's make sure as Secretary Generals we talk to each other. Oh, somebody came up and asked me about X, Y, and Z. Oh, really? So that we can work together to figure out what the answers are, so that the time, and I wanted to, the trade show, how many of you have worked a trade show before? What's the most important thing to do when somebody walks up to you at the booth?
To get their interest in the project.
No. It's called qualify the lead. Find out about them, not you, not what we've got. Hi, do you do international business?
Right now, no.
Ah, you don't do international business now? You should join FIABCI, because with FIABCI, you can do international business. Well, oh, thank you very much. You qualify the lead. Find out how close that person is to what you've got to sell. Because if they're not in the ballpark, thank you very much, here's a candy, please keep moving. If they're, oh, well, I'm a developer in Tunisia. Oh, really? I know Tunisia's a member. You should enter the Prix d'Excellence. So it's key, find out about the lead, qualify the lead. Who is this person and what do they want? And once you found that out, then you go to what you've got to sell. Number one mistake most people make is the first thing they talk about is what they've got to sell. And if the person is not qualified to buy it, then you've just wasted your time. First thing you do, ask the person about what do you do? Where are you from? Ah.
Physically, face to face, one-on-one, there is no business. You have to develop a relationship to do business. Without a relationship, there is no business. So you can do the first, have the access. You can go and take your directory and show your customers and your potential members, this is your access to potential business. And participation, right, is very important, but you have to physically participate. You can't just imagine that business is going to come. When I belonged, when I joined FIABCI, I can honestly tell you in '79 that my business has developed through the years because of my relationships and participation in FIABCI meetings around the world. The point is this, you have to physically be there to do business. You have to be in the moment doing your business. You cannot expect business to come to you without knowing the people that are going to direct that business to you. But it does come. So you have to be passionate about it and enthusiastic about it. You have to have that enthusiasm to recruit new members.
And Barbara, this is going to go back to Barbara. One, qualify the lead. What's next? We've qualified the lead. This person is a good.
Take something difficult.
Yep.
Take something difficult now, not a broker.
Because the last is. Sorry,
Close the deal.
close the deal. So we qualify the lead. Close the deal. What's the second step? Close.
Gain interest from him, her.
Solve the problem. I have a project that I'm trying to sell. Really? Did you know that FIABCI has, remember, so that people, that's the only thing people pay for. The only thing that people pay for is solutions to problems. If you can provide a solution to the problem, or at least an idea, qualified elite, who are they, what do they do, what do they want? You should really come to Andorra. If you come to Andorra, you will be able to, and then they'll sign right away. Qualified elite, solve the problem, close the deal. And so that's really, Kirko asked me to talk about how we're successful in the U.S. And so it is not, it's just following those basic principles. It's not any special knowledge. It's just kind of coming back and realizing, maybe the reason I haven't been able to convince this person to join yet is because I don't either know enough about them or don't have a tool to solve their problem. And so then when we, as a board of directors, get together in FIABCI USA, we say, in order to get more members, what do we have to do? Solve more problems, provide more tools for those members. And if we provide the tools for people to solve problems, we won't have any problem with closing the deals. And this is just classic business opportunities. Questions?
Can you just, for example, tell which tools do you provide, for example, for such principal members which you have, like NAR USA? It's a very big organization with its own access and networking and everything, but we have to have some tools to solve their problems. So what do you provide to them? And you are successful with this principal member for years.
Our principal members in the United States want to sell their products overseas. Most of them tell us very specifically, let's say the Council of Residential Specialists, for instance, CRS, they have a designation of qualified residential specialists, and they say, how can we export our product overseas? And we say, if you come to the World Congress, you will be able to meet people in 40, 50 different countries. And again, my job as the Secretary General is to make sure I know who's coming from which country and who's got, well actually this group actually does courses already, you should meet. And so we put those people together. So for our principal members, and again, the idea is they are very interested in this. This was something that we'll talk about. Let's keep talking about this, because we have a problem in the U.S. of our mindset. And it's what I talked about earlier, is we think that our principal members are somehow going to bring us members. Never happened. That they're not in FIABCI to bring us members. Just doesn't happen. And yet we get around all the time talking about, well, principal members. Principal members are interested in us promoting them. We are promoting you. And that's when we become successful. And another thing that we have to offer the principal members, NAR, to be very specific, knowledge. Something as simple as there is an actual real estate association in Tunisia. We know the guy. Because they don't know who the people are that can be their partners in other countries. So we introduce them to the appropriate partner, and that's what the principal members are looking for. Specifically, this is a question I do consulting work all over the world, and the question is always, on the brokerage side, are brokers licensed in Myanmar? Actually, we met the other night and I asked him, he said, no, we're working on it. It's a very simple question. And right now, today, you can't find that answer out on the internet. Right? Google it. Are brokers licensed in? So that idea of not only the introductions, but providing them with the knowledge, because then of course, once they find out licensed or not licensed, what's the next question? What's the commission? What's the commission? What are the steps to closing the transaction? Do I need a notary or do I not need a notary? How many days does it take? All of those type of issues we have within FIABCI. But sometimes, and that's what CureCore has been talking about, is we need to make that much more accessible. We need to make all of this knowledge, which is already in this room right now, think about it. Think about the knowledge that's in this room right now. But what's the problem? We don't share it. Why? The infrastructure for sharing the information is not in place. The infrastructure, because if I want to go on the phone, then what's the first thing I do? Is I turn on my phone and see if I've got internet access. And if I have internet access, then I can go and, well, that internet access we really don't have amongst ourselves. So Barbara's absolutely right. If I have to wait till Andorra in order to see you and answer a question about your Austrian market, guess what? No deal. No deal. So that's really what we're talking about. Vision 2020 is really about taking over 65 years of history and bringing it into the modern era so that I don't have to wait to see you at a cocktail party, but I can access that information and get that information to my client. Because if I don't access that information instantly, that client's going somewhere else. So what we're talking about here in this room as this historic meeting, again, what's the name of the play? International Business is the name of the play. And the Secretary Generals are the stage managers. And we want everybody to leave the play with a complete, satisfied, it's actually cathartic. I'm so happy I was able to do this business because of what FIABCI allowed me to do.